Hey everybody, I'm Alison Siewert, and I'm the Director of Performing Arts for Urbana 15. I grew up dancing and then playing the piano and singing in choirs and took some voice lessons and then was a music minor in college. So most of my training was in music, and I became a worship leader. I came on staff with InterVarsity and ended up leading worship at Urbana. I redesigned worship with some friends on a team and led worship at Urbana's 93 and 96. And then all along the way I had worked with theater, mostly because I was directing worship at churches, and I had run into a lot of church musicals that sound like people don't sound. Lines like, "Look, Bob, an empty cross, what could it mean?" "I don't know, Jim, it must mean that Jesus rose again." Flat, dry, cardboard things that people don't really say and that aren't really very interesting and that kind of leave the gospel feeling pretty bland. So I had often written new scripts for musicals, or had written musicals and then kind of imported music for them, or whatever, different things. I had experimented a lot with learning to write scripts, and had done some theater for campus work when I was a staff worker. And I ended up being invited to do some scripted theater for Urbana 03, which was the first time we'd ever tried scripted theater at an Urbana. We were doing the Lord's Prayer, and I think we did 16 pieces in 5 days with 4 actors. So you can imagine how slightly crazy that was. But it was really fun. I really liked doing it. We had a really good time, and that's kind of how I got involved at the Urbana level, working on theater. We spend a lot of time in the scripture. We spend probably the first half of our year, the primary thing we do is study the text that we're trying to work with at Urbana. We do the same kind of scripture study any of the speakers do, any of the program team does. So even our dancers study the scripture, even though they might not be writing scripts exactly. They're still studying the scriptures and having their heart and their art shaped by the text. From there, we spend time studying and talking in community about what God seems to be showing us, and work out, well, what are ways we might be able to make this sing or talk or act or, create a rhyme or look on a stage. We try all kinds of things, looking for the best form of art. If you're an artist, I hope it will inspire you to create, to see what's in the text and ask yourself, well, how can I tell this story? What story am I telling, and how do I tell it in my own culture, my own setting? Because my bet is that if you're an artist, you have something you can probably do to tell the story in a way that's beautiful and elegant and connective with people around you. I hope too that you'll see that our team, some of us have worked together for like 20 years. I know, I'm old. But some of us have been friends and have really been in community together for a very long time. And those kinds of friendships are rare and beautiful and a gift. And I hope that you will pursue those kinds of relationships over the course of your artistic life. Because art requires a kind of vulnerability and a kind of honesty and a kind of authentic relationship that's hard to come by in our culture. But if you want to really make things, if you really want to engage art in community, which in my mind, if you're going to follow Jesus, which requires community, if you're going to study the scripture, which requires community, because it's a book written by a community, about a community, for a community, and it's best understood in community, which is why we do communal Bible study at Urbana. I hope that you'll continue to do that and find ways to experience making art and living it out in community. We really have to go together. We heard that about mission. We go together, we don't go alone. We go together because we're a people made by God to be together and to work together and to go to the fields together. And I hope you'll do that. Try it, see what happens. Let me know. I would love to hear back from people, how the art has affected you, what helped. If you have questions, you can always contact me through my website. And I would love to hear what's going on and what kinds of things you're thinking about and where you're going from here.